The Mahabharata isn't an epic. It's a diagnostic manual. 5,000 years before the DSM-5, before Freud, before anyone put a name on the patterns that destroy human lives, this text mapped them all. Not as theory. As characters. Living, breathing, flawed beings who embody every psychological wound we still carry today. Performance anxiety. Identity crisis. Complex PTSD. Narcissistic injury. Moral injury. 5 characters. 5 archetypes. 5 patterns that are still destroying families, careers, and civilizations right now, in this century, in your life. And at least one of them is you. The question is which one and whether you'll recognize yourself before the war starts. Chapter 1, Arjuna the Golden Child. Arjuna is the greatest archer who ever lived. Drona's favorite student. The one chosen by the gods. The hero of every trial. He wins every tournament, masters every weapon, earns every blessing. From the outside, he's the definition of success. And in the moment that matters most, the first day of the war, with everything on the line, he collapses. Drops his weapons. Can't breathe. Can't think. Can't act. This isn't cowardice. This is performance anxiety at its most devastating. And the cruelest thing about performance anxiety is that it doesn't hit the unprepared. It hits the prepared. It hits the people who have trained the hardest, invested the most, and have the most to lose. Studies show that elite athletes, concert musicians, and top surgeons are more susceptible to performance anxiety than beginners because the gap between their ability and their fear of failure creates an unbearable tension. Arjuna's collapse isn't despite his greatness. It's because of it. He's been so good for so long that the possibility of being wrong, of making a mistake that can't be undone, is existentially unbearable. And here's the insight the myth encodes: the cure isn't more training. Arjuna doesn't need more skill. He needs Chapter 2, Karna the Identity Crisis. Karna is the saddest character in the Mahabharata. Born a Kshatriya a prince but abandoned at birth by his mother Kunti. Raised by a charioteer. Told his entire life that he was lowborn. That he didn't belong. That he had no right to stand among warriors. Everything Karna does every alliance, every battle, every choice is driven by one question: who am I? He trains harder than anyone. He seeks out weapons from the greatest teachers. He gives away his divine armor literally the protection his father Surya gave him because Indra asked and Karna couldn't bear to be called ungenerous. He dies loyal to Duryodhana the man who gave him a kingdom when everyone else rejected him even after he learns that the Pandavas are his own brothers. In psychology, this is called identity foreclosure adopting an identity based on what others tell you about yourself rather than discovering who you actually are. Karna was told he was a charioteer's son. He built his entire identity around proving that narrative wrong. But proving a lie wrong isn't the same as finding the truth. He spent his whole life reacting to what he wasn't instead of discovering what he was. Erik Erikson mapped 8 stages of psychosocial development, and the crisis of adolescence is identity versus role confusion. Most people resolve it. Chapter 3, Draupadi the fire that refused to go out. We covered Draupadi's unbound hair in the companion short. But in the long form, we need to go deeper into what makes her response so psychologically radical. Complex PTSD as defined by Judith Herman in her landmark book Trauma and Recovery differs from standard PTSD in one crucial way: it's not caused by a single event. It's caused by sustained, repeated trauma within a system of power that should have protected you. A child abused by a parent. A spouse trapped in a violent marriage. An employee systematically harassed by the institution that employs them. Draupadi's trauma isn't just the Vastraharan. It's the system. Her husbands gambled her away the people who promised to protect her treated her as property. The elders a Euro Bhishma, Drona, Vidura a Euro watched in silence. The legal system of the court allowed it. The entire structure of Dharma failed her. Herman identified 3 stages of trauma recovery: establishing safety, reconstructing the trauma narrative, and reconnecting with ordinary life. Draupadi does the first 2 on her own terms. She establishes safety through her vow a Euro. The unbound hair is a boundary that says this is not over. She reconstructs the narrative not as a victim story but as a justice claim a Euro. She reframes what happened from "I was humiliated" to "the world owes me a debt." But she never does the 3rd stage. She never Chapter 4, Duryodhana a Euro, the king who had everything and wanted one thing more: for his cousins to have nothing. Duryodhana is the eldest Kaurava. He was born a prince. He will inherit a kingdom. He has 100 brothers, the finest teachers, unlimited resources. By any objective measure, his life is extraordinary. And he is consumed by envy. Not because the Pandavas have more than him. They don't. He's consumed because the Pandavas exist at all. Because as long as they're alive and respected, he feels diminished. Their success isn't a threat to his resources. It's a threat to his specialness. In clinical psychology, this is called narcissistic injury a Euro, the wound that occurs when a narcissist's inflated self-image is challenged not by failure, but by someone else's success. Healthy competition says, "I want to be great." Narcissistic injury says, "I want to be the only one who's great a Euro, and if I can't be, I'll destroy the competition." Duryodhana doesn't need the Pandavas' kingdom. He needs them to not have one. He doesn't need to be the best. He needs them to be nothing. Every scheme a Euro, the house of lack, the rigged dice game, the exile a Euro, isn't designed to make Duryodhana greater. It's designed to make the Pandavas smaller. Kernberg and Kohut, the founders of narcissistic personality theory, identified that narcissistic individuals maintain their self-esteem not through genuine achievement but through the devaluation of others. Duryodhana achieves nothing of his own throughout the epic. He inherits Chapter 5, Bhishma a Euro, the greatest warrior on the wrong side of history. Bhishma is the patriarch. The grandfather. The man who took a vow of celibacy so that his father could marry the woman he loved. A vow so extreme, so selfless, that the gods themselves granted him the power to choose the moment of his own death. He is virtually invincible. He is universally respected. He is the moral center of the Kuru dynasty. And he fights for Duryodhana. He knows Duryodhana is wrong. He said so in the court. He told Dhritarashtra the war would be a catastrophe. He sat in the court during the Vastraharan and said nothing effective to stop it a Euro. His objections were procedural, not active. He watched the dice game and allowed it. And when the war came, he picked up his bow and fought against the people he loved, for the side he knew was unjust. Why? Because of his oath. His oath to serve the throne of Hastinapura a Euro, whoever sat on it. His loyalty was to the institution, not to justice. In modern psychology, this is called moral injury a Euro, a concept developed by Jonathan Shea studying Vietnam veterans. Moral injury isn't trauma from what was done to you. It's trauma from what you did a Euro or what you failed to do a Euro that violated your own deepest values. Veterans who followed orders they knew were wrong. 5 characters. 5 psychological wounds. 1 question, which one are you? Are you Arjuna a Euro, prepared for everything but paralyzed at the moment of truth, needing to release the outcome? Are you Karna a Euro, fighting your whole life to disprove a lie someone told you, building an identity on reaction instead of discovery? Are you Draupadi a Euro, holding on to a wound the world wants you to forget, because letting go would mean letting the truth die? Are you Duryodhana a Euro, so threatened by someone else's success that you'd burn your own kingdom to watch them lose? Or are you Bhishma a Euro, trapped in a system you know is wrong, bound by an oath or a role or a loyalty that overrides your own moral compass? Here's the Mahabharata's deepest lesson: all 5 of these patterns lead to war. But only two of them Arjuna's growth and Draupadi's justice lead to anything after the war. The rest are cautionary tales. If this hit a nerve, download the free Shadow Work Journal. It's designed to help you identify which character you've been playing and whether it's the one you actually chose. Link in the description. Subscribe for weekly Mythology psychology breakdowns. We'll be back next week with more.